Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another Untamed interview with me, Jim Hughes, aka the Untamed Entrepreneur. I'm here today in the lovely wintry afternoon in Chester with a friend of mine, Mark Boyns. Boynsy, as he's known to both of his mates. Still got it, haven't I? And Boynsy is the founder, the co-director of a unique, I believe, social enterprise in the UK called Opening Up Cricket. Get that over. Called Opening Up Cricket, and their mission. Nice zoom in. Their mission is to raise awareness for mental fitness throughout sport and the wider aspects of life. But they use cricket as a vehicle for that, and started about 4 years ago. And the few of you who watch these have noticed recently that I've been talking a lot about having a purpose and having a clear, distinct mission behind what you're doing and the importance that has. So I thought I'd interview my friend Boynsy because what he's doing is very purpose-driven. The foundation of it has had a huge impact on his life, and he hopes to push that purpose and espouse the same ideals and mission onto those that you're trying to help. Would that be correct?
Yeah, I'd say so. Of course, what we were talking about a little bit earlier before the vid was about this idea of purpose and why it's so important. And I guess with people who are watching this, people who you come into contact with your work, Jim, purpose can be something which is professional. It could be a motivation in terms of your safety, security, your income. For me, with this campaign or this project, whatever we'd call it, the motivation or the purpose isn't through that. For me, it's a lot about something that I do outside of my usual working week, and the purpose through that is twin it. It gives me an outlet for something. It gives me the opportunity to continue to learn and to grow and consider all these different things around mental fitness and mental health. But it's also about trying to give people who we come into contact with the tools and the idea for them to develop their purpose without it being too grand an ambition. The idea of what we try and promote with mental fitness, at one end of the spectrum you get, just like physical fitness, you'd have people who've got real challenges, who'd be unwell, but then at the other end you've got people who are thriving, and most of the time people are somewhere in the middle. So for me, what's key to getting towards that really positive end is having purpose, is knowing what you're aiming for. Someone was saying the other day, and a friend of ours in a similar setting in Australia, a cricket coach was saying, if you're setting out on a journey, say you're getting in your car, well, you need to know where you're going, otherwise you don't know if it's going to be successful. You might have your sat-nav, but if you don't know what you're punching into it, you don't know where you're going. So that kind of imagery might make sense to people, but that idea of purpose, you're dedicating your time, whether it's your spare time or whatever, to something, you've got to know what you're doing it for. So I've got my reasons why I run this enterprise, why I've decided to put what is probably all my spare time really into it. But the reasons for that would be unique to me, but having a purpose is something that is just the most important thing, I think, for everyone in anything.
So do you feel that having that purpose that is behind your mission, that spending your spare time on that, how impactful is that on the rest of your life? Obviously, in terms of a time capacity, it's in there, it's something that's very significant. But having that thing to go to after the day job, and having, in your eyes, such a significant cause to work towards, how important is that, and what effect has that had on you?
Yeah, well, I've always thought about how to term it, whether I look at it as being like another job, or look at it as being a hobby, or however I term it. And I don't tend to get too bogged down in that. I tend to think that, well, with every action that I do for Opening Up Cricket, why am I doing it? So if I'm sending an email, or I'm producing a newsletter, or I'm updating the website, am I just doing that because that's something that's on a list? Am I doing it because I feel like I've got to? Or is that contributing towards the purpose that I've set out? So if I can't find a rationale within what I'm doing for the purpose of the project, which is to promote mental fitness and to promote ultimately suicide prevention, something we're really motivated by, then I won't do it. And it's quite liberating being my own boss in that case, because if someone's saying, do you want to come and give this talk or come to this, I don't think it's going to serve a purpose, I'll politely say no.
Yeah.
Whereas if it was a job, I might think, oh gosh, for funding for this, for that. So yeah, the purpose runs all the way through it, and that is a big motivator though, because I will then sometimes say, I will travel that bit further, or I will do something a little bit different, because I can see tangibly that will have an outcome. In our case, it isn't monetary, but we get a reward in a different way. So if that's interacting with people and someone giving some feedback to say that made a difference, or they now know where they can seek help or something like that. So that's the way of trying to balance it between time, work and whatever, but developing an ability to say no is really important. No, that doesn't fit with my purpose, so I'm not going to do it. It sounds bad, doesn't it, when you say it out loud? But actually, that's really important to be able to do, to be able to say, no, I've set this up for a particular reason or reasons, and that's why I do this, and why perhaps other things we prioritise over it.
Yeah, no, the way I liken it too, and I think I got this from Gary Vaynerchuk, he probably didn't make it up himself, but it's having a North Star. It's having, you talk about the sat-nav, it's knowing what direction you're going in. So when you get presented with opportunities, either side of that, if you have that North Star, you can say, right, does this align with the vision of where I want to go? Yes or no. If you don't have that, you can find yourself going around in circles. Would you say that's the case?
Yeah, absolutely. We had quite a lot of time at the beginning of this process, kind of 2014, 2015, where I went into it and I just wanted to make as many contacts, as many impressions as I could. And I viewed that as being the most important thing to say, well, let's get our name, our brand established, if you like. And that's had some real benefits. There's people that we've worked with ever since the beginning who now, are really committed, really big part of what the group does. But also there's been a lot of false starts along the way, which are important to then really refine, to know what you're doing. So saying, well, we tried that and it didn't work, and that's not a waste of time. That's actually really good use of time to say, we know we're not going to have to do that in the future. As long as you're conscious of it. Yeah, absolutely. And maybe at the beginning I wasn't, but now I'm able to say, right, that little idea there, maybe that 2 months where I was working hard on that area of a project, well, it's not applicable. That's fine, because now if a similar thing presents itself, I would just be saying, well, that isn't quite fitting in, and remind myself of what that purpose is. So what we've managed to do a lot more, or what I've managed to do a lot more, is try and say, what's the kind of mission statement? What's our reason for being? Does this fit it? And I know this is kind of what I've been saying already, but we've got some extension of things we're doing. We do sessions with cricket clubs. We're looking to do more workshops with coaches, more events where people would pay for tickets to come along. Now, if we were doing that just to say we want to get people giving us 20 quid, then that quite soon would run its course. But what we're doing is saying, well, we want people to pay a little bit of money because they're going to get value for money, they're going to get good speakers, they're going to get good content. But then for me, the important thing is the money that we receive to go back into the group, go back into the enterprise, so that we can then reach more people through that. So that's always at the centre of it. So it is easy to get sidetracked. People tend to want stuff from you without them wanting to do it themselves. So people say, oh, maybe you could do this, or you could work in this area. And again, when you say it out loud, you feel bad, but you sort of want to go, well, what are you doing? If it's that important,
because I'm on this mission, therefore, if you come with me, then you've got to have the same thing.
And people are saying, say for example, I'm doing a bit of consultancy with another couple of sports at the moment, and I might end up doing some of that presenting, I might end up being involved, but I'll still be doing that because of the purpose that I have.
And it's aligned with it because you're so clear about what yours is.
And if it's consulting someone else, I mean, most things, if you think about it, are a selfish action. I mean, this is what one of our tutors at uni said, wasn't it, Joe Femia, that you can examine man's actions and say, well, why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? If you keep asking that, and most of the time, in fact all the time, it's because you're going to get something from it. Now, ideally that benefits other people. But if I'm consulting another group who wants to do something in football or what have you, I'll be doing that, yes, to help them get started, but then I want to take the experience back to my group so that we can advance that, we can push that forward, and I can get that experience.
And if you know what, that the mission you're on is it's philanthropic or altruistic, or it's serving somebody else, you don't mind doing that because you know that your vision is shared by other people.
Yeah.
So what works for you is going to add value to other people as well. But
hopefully.
going back to what you said before about refining the idea of what the mission is over time, I think that's an important point because there's a lot of people watching. No, there isn't a lot of people watching. For the people who are watching, there will be people out there who are thinking, what's my purpose? I want to find it tonight. I want to find it overnight. Why? Where is it? Why haven't I figured it out yet? And I get a lot of clients who come to me and that's what they want. And I say, look, you're not going to find it overnight. Trial and error is really important. But as long as you're consciously doing it, as long as you're constantly trialing, failing, succeeding, but then when you do succeed, what worked? So then you can replicate it. When you fail, why didn't it work? So then you can try again. So the fact that you said, you didn't have a clear mission, you did, but it's now being refined. You didn't have it within the first 3 months. 4 years later, you now know what it is, and it takes time.
Yeah. Well, originally, the backstory, I suppose, is the most important thing here. That I set this up because a friend of mine took his own life in December 2012, and for months afterwards, I just didn't have a clue what to do about that, both personally, how to deal with it, what I could do to commemorate his memory, to make sure people didn't forget him because he was such an important, special person, and then also to try and think, the way he met his end, that's just tragic, it's horrible. Can we do something to stop that and avoid that kind of thing happening to people? So that was always there as the main thrust to it. But then, being specific was quite difficult outside of that. So as we've gone forward, that's always been there. But now it's saying, right, well, what's the best practical ways of making sure that aim of preventing those further instances of commemorating a person's memory can actually then be most applicable to people across there. Yeah. And in terms of finding purpose, I can't remember who came up with this originally, and maybe whoever I got it from didn't come up with it originally. This concept, this process you can go through when you're goal setting of asking yourself or someone else the 7 whys. You ever come across this where you would say, right, for example, in business, I want to increase turnover, and then why? And then you're answering that question, why and why and why. So for us, someone would say, right, I want to promote mental fitness, why? And I might then say, right, well, because of Alex, and say, well, why? Because he was special. Why? And you roll back from there. And then eventually when you've done that, that can give a bit of purpose. And sometimes what you think might be your purpose, like for example, material wealth, you might then after a few whys go, actually, I've mentioned the word happy perhaps, or I've mentioned the word fulfilled, or feel better. And that's probably...
So it's about digging deeper.
Yeah, and you're saying, well, actually, maybe I can get that. And actually, I'm not slagging off money. It's important, and it is a measure of success. It's not saying it isn't, but it might be that is a byproduct of what you've got. Yeah, so it might be one measure of you being successful in your line of work is that you are well rewarded for it financially. But another might be that you've had great impact on the people around you. And your purpose might be to be a great advocate for something, or it might be just if you work in an industry which is based on the numbers, it might be I want to be the highest ranked salesman, whatever. But without that purpose, you're kind of groping around for a bit of everything.
And the proof of that, of course, is the amount of people out there who are successful in a monetary sense, who are still unfulfilled.
Yeah.
So for me, and I think for you, having that purpose gives you that fulfillment.
Yeah.
And the money is a byproduct. The money allows you then to further that mission and to reach more people.
Yeah, and I will say that my day job as a teacher is paid well. It's not, teachers' wages aren't great compared to other jobs, but it's well paid. So I don't have to worry about money, which is a fortunate position to be in. So my purpose within this sphere that we're talking about can be entirely on that original focus. So I'm not saying that everyone could directly take my purpose into another area, but I was fortunately able to say, right, well, okay, I know money's not the thing here. For someone else, it might be that journey to say, well, how important is money? How important is attainment? How important is fulfillment?
And the money's necessary to keep the vehicle moving.
Yeah, of course. So if I lost, for example, if I didn't have any income, or I lost my principal job, that would impact my opportunity to do this. So yeah, those preconditions shouldn't be ignored.
Yes, of course. Interesting stuff. Well, do you want to open your?
Does it?
Yeah. Just keep the rest on. Where can people reach you?
You can get us on openingupcricket.com. If you're on Twitter, it's at openingupcc. Instagram's at openingupcricket. There's all the mediums available.
All the big ones.
Otherwise, if someone wants to email me, always happy to chat. It's Mark at openingupcricket.
Yeah, and I recommend you get in touch with him because he's a really good lad. He's obviously here to help. It's a really, really good cause you're on the way to fulfilling. And yeah, wish you all the best and thank you, everyone. Enjoy.